today, there's an excerpt in Politico of a book that's about to come out from a former Biden aide called The Last Politician. It's called The Last Politician, Inside Joe Biden's White House and the Struggle for America's Future. Sorry, by The Atlantic staff writer Franklin Foer. And there's a bit of a, write-up on what to expect, an excerpt from these books. Yeah, and so the excerpt is in The Atlantic, but Politico is reporting that Biden aides have been scrambling to secure a copy. So if you want to read the excerpt, go to The Atlantic. In any event, it's all about the excerpt, the Afghanistan withdrawal, the disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. And they write things like this, Victor. For a man vaunted for his empathy, Biden could be detached, even icy, when confronted with the prospect of human suffering. I think we've seen plenty of that.
Yeah, I don't understand what he means, a man known for his empathy. I can't think of anything in his career that was empathetic. It's always been narcissistic, I thought, self-absorbed.
Well, here's some more. Then they write that we just had the 2-year anniversary of losing 13 service personnel at the Abbey Gate explosion when we were precipitously withdrawing our troops and our civilians from Afghanistan. It was on Saturday, the 2-year mark. And this points out that during the withdrawal, which was chaotic and so poorly managed, that Trump's ambassador to Afghanistan, John Bass, got a call begging him to go back to Afghanistan to take over the lead of the evacuation and to do it immediately because the current ambassador under Joe Biden, someone named Ross Wilson, was, quote, shattered by the experience of the past week and was not able to function at the level that was necessary to complete the job on his own. They go on to talk about how when the Deputy Secretary of State went to check in with members of a task force working on the evacuation, she found grizzled diplomats in tears. These State Department employees who had been dealing with some of these Afghan translators and so on over many, many years felt shame and anger that came with the inability to help them. They couldn't deal with the trauma. They needed therapy dogs that might ease the staff's pain. All of this because of Joe Biden's orders and the way that this was handled. And yet, as you pointed out in a great piece dated August 21st at American Greatness, as you pointed out, here's Joe Biden talking about his history, our history, and how it's completely unblemished when it comes to our accomplishments. Listen.
Name me a single objective we've ever set out to accomplish that we've failed on. Name me one in all of our history. Not one.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't think of one thing. Afghanistan, the border, his handling early on in the Ukraine war, crime, as I said, energy, that he had any success. If he means name one thing we didn't fulfill our objective, I don't think he really meant that, meaning, did you give me a chance to screw things up? Yes, he did have a chance. So he screwed up. The energy was draining the Strategic Petroleum Reserve right before the election. He hasn't refilled it, et cetera, et cetera. So he's been a disaster. And that thing about Afghanistan, I thought it ranked with the 1975 evacuation of the Saigon embassy when you saw those helicopters and they landed out on aircraft carriers and they were pushing planes, brand new fighter jets off into the ocean to get room for these refugees and the boat people. I'm not sure that this is the worst thing since Pearl Harbor, if you think about it. Here we were with variously reported $30 to $50 billion of equipment, weapons, munitions, guns, support, and we just left it there at a time when we don't have a lot of stocks anyway because we're draining them for everything from shells to javelins for Ukraine, and that stuff is not inert. It's ending up in the international terrorist market. We know that the Taliban is trying to fob it off or sell it on the international market. And then we had not only just these 13 people killed, then we lied about the retaliatory strike that killed innocent civilians. Mark Milley said it was a justified or just attack. It wasn't. And then in addition to that, there was rumors that Joe Biden wanted to get them out in this time frame because the 20th anniversary of 9/11 was coming up, and maybe the 20th anniversary in October of being there. And he was going to claim that after 20 years of this slugfest, I got us out on the anniversary. And then in addition to that, the weirdest thing about it was, at least the British imperialists, when they stopped Sute or some type of practice in the Raj about, the widow has to get on the funeral pyre, and they stopped that, or they stopped slavery, or they tried to stop the caste system, they had the power to do that. But here we were at this moment of crisis, and we had I think it was $400 million we had invested in a gender studies program over 20 years at the University of Kabul. And then we had the pride flag that day flying from the U.S. Embassy. There were George Floyd murals. So we were trying to force down the throat of a traditional Islamicist society this woke narrative, but we were weak. And so we ended up with the worst of both worlds, arrogance and weakness. And it was just I can't think of anything that's been more disastrous to the United States. And it had an absolute effect on the later February invasion the next year into Afghanistan. Putin would have never gone in there had we not embarrassed ourselves in Afghanistan. He was just convinced after the things that Joe Biden had said about Ukraine, minor invasion, no response, and what we did, he thought, the United States, even if they wanted to, they couldn't. Look what they did in Afghanistan. We got out of Afghanistan. We understood that, but look how we got out. These people have humiliated themselves. They're just a paper tiger. And so and Victor Shokin really, he also said that in a different way when he also in that interview had said that Joe Biden being compromised in the 2014 invasion of Crimea and the Donbass had been very influential and no response whatsoever. And that had empowered, he said, Putin later on to take additional risk.
Where did you learn about money? Budgeting, saving, investing, and spending. If you're like me, you learned about it the hard way, and it certainly wasn't in school. My parents did the best they could, but I feel like I can do better. I would like my own children to be better at money matters than I was at their age, which is where Busy Kid comes in. Listen to this. Busy Kid is an interactive money management app for kids and teens to help them learn how to earn, save, invest, and spend money wisely. It gives them real-life experience, and it allows parents to still be a safety net with approvals and monitoring. The more kids earn, save, invest, and spend on the app, the more they build healthy financial routines to use as adults. Busy Kid is great for kids and teens 5 to 17 years old, and everyone gets a personalized debit card to learn how to shop and manage invisible money. Busy Kid is offering a limited time special for our audience right now, 20% off a family subscription. So for less than $4 a month, this app and card can transform how your children think about and use money. To start, download Busy Kid and enter the promo code MK to get 20% off. Again, download Busy Kid, BUSYKID, and use promo code MK for 20% off. There's even a 30-day guarantee. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.